By the end of this video, you guys should be able to feed your fish the correct food, the correct amount, at the correct time of day, and save money doing it. Community fish foods, mealworms, bloodworms, krill, bottom feeder food, brine shrimp. With so many fish foods on the market, how is somebody supposed to know which is the right one to get? Depending on what fish you have, where it comes from, where it lives in your tank, what its mouth is shaped like, all makes an impact on how it eats. If you're like most fish keepers in the hobby, you not only have one fish in your aquarium, you have multiple types of fish in your aquarium, and they all have different manners and food preferences. Or if you like me with the MTS, multi-tank syndrome, you got an unhealthy amount of aquariums spread all over your house. And you're gonna wanna feed them the correct diet that is necessary for them to grow a long and healthy life, because you spend money on them and you don't want them to die. Pretty much there's 3 types of fish out there. There's carnivorous, which means they eat meat. There's omnivores, which means they eat a mixture of vegetable matter and meat. And then there's vegetarian, vegosaurus, which pretty much means they eat tofu. Don't feed your fish tofu. It means fiber, plant-based foods, community tanks, all right? The tanks that are the hardest to feed because they have a wide variety of fish. They got fish on top, they got fish in the middle, they got fish on the bottom. They all need to eat. And we need to figure out what's the best way to feed them. They can't all just eat the same food. I know the bottle says community flake food, but the reality is that some fish are not suited to the types of food that other fish are suited to. You got fish that really only like to skim off the top, which would be like, let's say hatchet fish. Arowanas, for instance, they like to eat off the top. Any fish that swims at the top pretty much swims up there is because they're waiting for the food to come at them. Then you have your mid tank swimmers like angels and tetras and moles and swordtails and other gouramis. They want to get at foods that, you know, are in their area, you know, that are in their swimming area. Then we get the poor scavengers, the bottom feeders, the catfish, the snails. You get the loaches, the plecos. Now, because these fish stay at the bottom, that's where they're hunting for food. They're waiting for food to be down at ground level. If you're feeding them with food that gets eaten up before it gets there, your bottom feeders could be starving. So if you got a community tank, what you're gonna want to get is a variety of foods. You're gonna want to get foods that appeal to all the fish in your tank. I like to get multiple types of food, put them all in one jar, shake it up. That way, I'm covered. When you feed them flakes, the flakes have a tendency of, once they hit the water, it scatters. All that food goes all over the place. It gets sucked into your filter. It gets stuck deep in the rocks where some of your fish can't get it and they rot. Crisp. Tetra makes a crisp. It's really, really good for a community tank because it has different ingredients for different types. Most community tropical flake foods do work for feeding all your fish, but I find that while it is a neutral food where all your fish can get some benefit, not all your fish are getting all the benefit. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? So what I like to do is I like to get a variety of pellets, preferably pellets of different sizes. If you can get them floating, then get them floating. Sometimes you're gonna get some that are floating and some that sink slowly. Those are good too. You put it in a container, shake it up, and when you feed your fish, you feed them this mixture of food. And what that does is each brand has specific ingredients, amounts of vitamins, and this, that, and the other. So when you mix it all up, they're pretty much getting the best of all. You know what I'm saying? So the fish that don't want to deal with the frenzy of, let's say, barbs or angels, if you had floating pellets or a food that floats, they can just stay up top and go ahead and get food off the top. Whereas the fish in the middle can fight over that slow sinking food. In a community tank, you're also going to want to give them treats because some fish do require more protein than others. You are going to want to provide it. You can do that with bloodworms, brine shrimp, any of these frozen foods. All your fish will benefit from having this food, but the ones that really need it, like your carnivorous, omnivores, they will really appreciate it. Sinking pellets, bottom feeder foods, algae wafers, stuff like that. Now, for this particular type of fish that you have in your aquarium, I suggest you feed them in the dark. A lot of these bottom feeders are perfectly suited for scavenging and finding food in murky or dark water. That's a lot of the reasons why a lot of these bottom feeders have barbels, you know, little things coming off their face, and that's so that they can find the food. If you feed them in the dark, the chances of them getting it before the other fish is better. So when you have a community aquarium like that, where you have multiple, sometimes you may need to feed in the daytime and at night in the dark so that everybody gets the proper amount. All right, so I'm really hoping that you like this video. If you liked it, then I like that you liked it. And if you enjoyed this content, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, let me know what you think. And I took the liberty of putting a couple of other videos up here that I personally enjoyed, that I think you might enjoy if you liked this video. So yeah, appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one.